Hey everybody, it's Commander Clyde, and we're back with another patch notes analysis. Today we're looking at the 5.5 update, Time to Party, with the very similar to Near Automata Neath thing, whatever. You know I don't care about skins, but the Zeus skin is important because now this means you can make you can make the tech team of your dreams and get all the tech skins together and go nuts. And new mastery skins. Hooray. Always good. The matchmaker is undergoing significant adjustments. Patch 5.5 will begin tests on the new matchmaker. For full details, click here. Interesting. More Project Olympus stuff. What is this? Let's look at this real quick while we're here. Making our matchmaking algorithm more efficient by changing its core code. Adjusted many variables to better focus on Smite's matchmaking needs. New code uses much more efficient math to group players who are more similar in level, experience, and skill level. It also strives to better balance skill level per team. We also expect it to find matches faster. Should always be nice because 12-minute queues are no fun. It looks like this is going to have more benefit though to Joust and Conquest than it is to Duel because they're talking about grouping players, which I guess it could affect between two teams maybe. I don't know if that'll affect who you go up against. First, we will be in the testing and data collection phase. This means we will be testing this code at certain times of the day on certain queues. We have done significant simulation tests internally, but we need to collect real data to confirm everything is working as intended. The data and feedback collected from the test will be reviewed before the system becomes applied to all queues. Update the community as we move through these phases. PC and console will both follow this plan, but at the time of their own updates. Player feedback will be very important to the process. Any matchmaking that looks strange or unintended should be reported. Please include the in-game match ID and share a short statement about what you felt went wrong. Where do I do that? Also, how do I know when the queue I'm in is being affected? Uh, on patch day, the high-risk community will make an r/smite thread and a tweet where players can post this information. Okay. Never mind, they tell you. Keep in mind you might not feel immediate changes on 5.5 patch day. Only players in the right time and place for sample data will. All players should still send us matchmaking feedback either way, though. Can I just do the matchmaking feedback, though? I guess not, because you don't know the rank of the person until after you've looked up their profile. Eh. Okay, anyway, that seems like... I mean, I like that idea. If it's going to make queues faster, that's the most important thing to me, because I don't like sitting in a 12-minute duel queue only to end up playing a game for 20 minutes and losing. That's no fun. Alright, custom and auto buy builds will now sell starters and buy a finished build once all their items have been built. The only exception for this is arena builds. That's interesting because as it stands right now, the bots don't do that, and nothing happens. Well, that's bots in practice mode. That should affect all of that though, which is cool. At least now, if God forbid you're doing auto buy, you won't be put at a disadvantage. Incorrect scoreboard issue. We have implemented a fix for the scoreboard issue where it would display incorrect teammates connection status. Due to the difficulty of reproducing this bug internally, we cannot fully confirm this has been resolved in all cases. At least they're trying, because that's annoying. I'd like to know what the respawn timer is and what items my opponent is building. Makes it hard to push objectives when you don't know when the enemy's going to be back. Fix some issues with the full VGS implementation. We did not patch 5.3. Players should now have all commands and they should properly say the expected command. New player experience adjustments. Removed all previous level of rewards. New level of rewards. Okay. To improve the new player, we are making a large push to improve the new player experience of Smite. The first pass to these improvements is focused around level up rewards, in the face of which players leveled up. Due to the nature of these changes, we cannot retroactively reward users who have passed level 30 before the changes go into effect. Any users that get pushed to and above level 30 by experience changes we are making will be retroactively rewarded for any skipped levels. Additionally, we have made changes to the tutorial quests, changing the order and rewards for completing these quests. So you get new stuff for leveling up. Yeah. Just a player level experience required now takes 25% less to reach level 30. Each level between level 31 and 50 takes more experience to reach, such that it takes the same amount of experience to reach level 50. Levels 51 to 160 are not seeing any changes. Training quests, who cares? Bug fixes. Yay. General bugs, okay. Now this is a thing. Fixed an issue where certain objectives would not have their health bar appear. So some of you may have noticed that if you're watching my streams, I haven't been able to see the health for towers in duel. And apparently this has been happening in other modes too. I think it happens fairly often, and it's really annoying to not have it appear on your screen. So you can't tell exactly how much health is left. You just have to watch the bar and hope that you can guess about it, and that's annoying. So that's good that that's being addressed. It's not a big deal. New additions to the awesome chest and godlike chest, whatever, and the fantasy points store. Hooray! And here we are, general balance. As the season continues, we have gotten to a point where players are starting to really understand the map and how to gain a lead from it. Even so, players are struggling to find opportunities to end the game, with Phoenix Sieges being very difficult, even with a substantial lead. I don't know if I agree with that. Comeback potential is important, but it shouldn't feel like the lead built up through the game is unimportant. Fire Giant buff is getting an increase to the bonus structure damage it provides. Teams who secure the boss objective have a stronger advantage when it comes time to sieging the enemy base. Yeah, the experience I've had in Conquest when getting behind after you've, or not being able to do anything after a lead is because my team either had a bad late game or they just got stupid late, or they just were doing the wrong things late and it was losing the games. Not that couldn't end, it was just bad plays. But hey, you know, they buffed all the towers and stuff in the last when they put the map out, so always got to adjust. Fire Giant buff increased bonus damage to structures from 20 to 25%. Enhanced Fire Giant buff increased bonus damage to structures from 20 to 30%. Those of you who don't know, at 25 minutes, the Fire Giant becomes enhanced, and you get a bigger buff from it. That and so they're making that do increased structure damage, and they increased it on just the regular Fire Giant buff too. Tier 1 tower increased base power from 200 to 215. Makes it a little harder to get that second tower. Malice, a new passive on a successful critical strike. Your abilities deal 35% more damage for the next 3 seconds. There are gods that this works pretty well on. I feel like Naja likes this. If he ults, you can follow up with the ring with the artillery shafts to do damage, or you can apply the crit and try to get a crit off of the artillery shaft and then ult and then blah blah blah, all that stuff. It works well on him, works well on Sir Cat, I think. Um, the way it was with the dot after you crit was kind of weird to me. I kind of like this better, but there are certain gods that this doesn't work as well on. But I think most of them that use crit well, I mean the gods that this item is intended for, which is assassins, I think it's fine. I think I like this better if I'm honest. Dual applications, eh. There's only a couple gods that use it, so not significant. Midguardian male, this is a pretty ridiculous, this is a pretty good buff. I like it. An effect that slows movement speed and attack speed is useful, but the 30% chance to trigger made its power highly variable and difficult to rely on. We're removing this RNG and streamlining the effect to always trigger and stack up to its current power after multiple hits. See, this item doesn't, well, it has that, but the item doesn't have that much defense really. So with its passive being RNG based, it made it kind of an undesirable item because you didn't get enough benefit from it. The benefit did not function nearly as well. So new passive, when hit by a basic attack, that enemy has their movement speed and attack speed reduced by 15% for 2 seconds. This effect can stack up to 2 times and can stack with other item slow effects. That's a big deal. Keep that in mind. I personally really like this buff to this. There are people I've seen her saying, "Oh, warriors are dead because of this. You just build it," and it's like that's not really the main classes I see this working against. I see warriors building it to deal with hunters and assassins. To be the most intelligent thing, especially in duel. This is like your worst nightmare if you're fighting a hunter, a warrior, because all they gotta do is run at you, and then what are you gonna do? You're slowed. Your movement and attack speed is slowed, and then they just come and get you. This is a significant buff to melee gods, to especially warriors against hunters. I mean, it's a buff to warriors. Although there are situations where other classes of gods can build it. You can build it as an assassin, as a defense item, I think. I feel like that's not a bad idea. This will be strong against Nemesis, which is good. She's really strong right now. Good to have a good counter build item against her. Um, so yeah, I think this is good. Now, if you're an auto-attacking warrior, say you're Erlang or Bellona or Osiris, you're not going to have fun dealing with this. But if you're an ability-based warrior, it's good for you because it'll lower their DPS quite a bit, but you'll have your main ability damage still, so it's pretty good. Witchblade, increased health from 100 to 200. They want to make it more desirable to build because it's not getting built right now, even though it's got a lot of good stats on it. It's just not worth it usually. This is a good weird item on certain warriors. This is like to me a conquest item. Practically, you don't really want to build it in any other modes. I don't think it gets much use unless you're in a team scenario. Okay, added visual effects to the damage from Crusher. Yeah, you know when it's hitting you. Awesome. Increased physical power gain per passive stack from 7 to 10. That's where it used to be on Iqbal. Silver Branch, new passive. Every successful basic attack increases your attack speed by 5%. Stacks last for 3 seconds and stack up to 6 times. Um, Imagine Bakasura building this. He already gets basic attacks from killing a target with his autos. So let's give him more attack speed. Yay! This is great on any auto attacker. I see this being the most useful for melees, though. That's a nightmare to deal with, but wait, we have this. So there's, you can play some games here. There's going to be some weird counter building going on here now, I think. But I don't think there's that many people building this, so you might see it more now, but it's kind of like a worse version of Atalantis. At least that's how I feel. Alright, Aussie has long been on razor's edge between complete dominance or total unviability. The physical pen was decreased on Aussie recently to make it more consistent with other pen options. Change was great for consistency reasons, but it brought Aussie's power level to a point where the item was no longer valued. We are increasing the attack speed on the item to increase its power without putting it back in the spot where it feels overpowered. Increase attack speed from 20 to 25%. Whatever. I mean, people are building this though, aren't they? So I don't know if they really need to do that, especially with the attack speed options you do have available. Hunters are building Crusher right now. Has attack speed, and then you can still build XE that has attack speed. This has attack speed, attack speed, attack speed. I don't think we need that much attack speed, but okay. Smite Gauntlet, increased physical power from 0 to 5. Basically, the tier 1 kind of was bleh. It felt really dumb to build it because you didn't get power, which, hunters are building right now. In Conquest, they're building mace as their second item. They'll get a starter and then they'll get mace, and that'll give them power to start with. But this, that you're getting power and a little bit of lifesteal, that's a big deal, and I think you're going to see a lot of hunters go for this as their second item, starting the game off, as opposed to mace. Just because you're not losing that much ability to push early now that it has some power on it. So, go for it. So you might see more people going for this over Transcendence now, too. Because double stacking is dangerous. 8-pointed shuriken, adjusted cost from 1700 to 1500. Upgrade costs to keep the items at the same total cost. Adjusted the upgrade cost to keep the items at the same total cost. So it'll cost you more to get those, but it'll cost you less to get this. So it's just a trade-off to make it feel like you're not having to save up so much gold to get this. Aphrodite, God Balance, Aphrodite, Undying Love can now be cast even if Aphrodite is currently in the air from a knockup ability. This is great if you have knockup comps, if you're fighting anything that's got a Haobuo, a Bacchus, Jing Qian, etc. This is a really good counter pick now that you can use that ultimate and avoid any damage after the knockup occurs. And that's really good. It's also a good comp if there's also an Awilix in the comp. If you cast Undying Love, CC immunity, you can't get pulled by a Awilix. It's a cool change. I like it. Make her, maybe you'd want to pick her a little more. I don't know that that affects her pick ability much though. The Kabrakan Tectonic Shift adjusted the targeter to better reflect the area of the damage. Chang'e increased persist time of damaging area from 0.6 to 0.7. Fixes the dead zone where Chang'e could miss the ability while standing still. Now goes the full 360 degrees. I have seen this happen. It's annoying and it's dumb and it's inconsistent, and I'm glad they fixed it. Sobek no longer goes untargetable while plucking an enemy. He instead gains player pass-through. Think Osiris passive. which will allow him to be hit by enemies while he is getting ready to throw someone. I thought he was already targetable though, because I've seen him get stunned right after, but will it make him cancel his pluck? Or if you do, I don't know how that's gonna work. I'd have to see this to really know, because I don't recall him being untargetable. Whatever, that's weird. Range Dragon Throw decreased magical power scaling from 90 to 78%, which is 15 to 13% per dragon. Make his poke more manageable. It says pressure Aquan players to focus more on the true assassin playstyle he was meant to have. Well, what is poking on? I mean, I guess why? Because you have to think more carefully about ganking someone and when to use your damage. I guess that's how most assassins work. I mean, poke is an important part of the game, though. So, I mean, he's a mage, so poke is a thing for mages. I don't. It's weird. I don't see the point. I don't think that was needed. This nerf was needed. The nine-tailed fox, Daji, received some buffs recently that have put her over the top. The current meta and itemization especially favor her bursty style, so we are decreasing the power scaling on two key abilities. This should lead Daji to feel more counterable by decreasing her one-shot potential. If you know anything about Daji, you know she can use two abilities and almost kill you with them. She can cast her 3 in horrible burns, and you're almost dead if you're a mage or anything squishy, basically. She doesn't even have to do anything. Her other two abilities, she doesn't even need them. So now they're lowering the power scaling on Torture Blades. Decrease physical power scaling from 20 to 14%, which is 10 to 7% per tick. And decrease physical power scaling on Horrible Burns on the burst from 45 to 35%. Tick damage will remain the same. Oh, this is good. She is performing far too well, far too annoying to deal with. I mean, how do you defend yourself against a god that can kill you, basically kill you with two abilities that you can't really avoid? Like, is that fair? No. So dial her back a little. Good changes. Kakon tends to be very powerful at high skill levels, but is quite balanced in most other metrics. We are removing the feature of his Berserk that granted him access to abilities he hadn't ranked up yet. If you guys know this, if you've seen him transform at level 1, he can use his dash, even though he doesn't have a point in it. It's still there, which is kind of dumb, because it gives you far too high of kill potential and pressure when you shouldn't have it. So when transformed, Kakala will no longer gain access to abilities he has not put a point into, except for his 2, because it's always active when he's transformed. So yeah, you can't snowball as heavily anymore. Basically, Discordia is really annoying, and we gave her a dumb ability that gives her free CDR, so we're increasing the cooldown on that ability to 18 seconds. Yay! And that will have a big impact, because now she can't use her combo as often. Isis is often outclassed by other mages. Her early lane clear is still one of the best in the game, but her utility abilities are still falling short. We are decreasing the cooldown on Dispel Magic and increasing the protective nature of Circle of Protection to help her specific utility skills stand out more. Additionally, we are allowing Circle of Protection to hit and heal harder early on, giving her ultimate more potency in the early game. Consistency change, movement speed increased from 355 to 360 because they've been doing that on most of the mages. Reduce cooldown on Dispel Magic from 18 to 16 seconds. Now, why is this shorter when it's just a slow and a silence, and this gives her... That's stupid. That should have already been lower. I don't know what they're doing. Circle Protection. Increase max charge damage / heal scaling from 1.5 to 3.5 to 2.5 to 3.5. Yeah, got a little more early. They've increased her scaling significantly at rank 1 here, but it finishes out to the same. Increased damage reduction from 15% to 15, scaling to 20%. Circle of Protection actually protects you better now. Hey, how about that? This is a big change. Nobody's gonna really notice. But, I mean, Sun Wukong is getting outclassed by certain warriors. It's been kind of hard for him to clear because he's lost Bluestone. I mean, you can still get magic Mage's Blessing, but the problem is then you don't have warriors, and if you're in a solo lane, that's probably bad. So increase base damage from 80 to 200, from 80 to 240 to 90 to 250. Now this is only 10 damage, but keep in mind that will also increase his bonus damage on minions because it's based on the percentage of the damage of the ability. So he gets a little bit more on that. And decrease the mana cost from 50 to 90 to 50 to 70. So at all other ranks except the first rank, lowered by 5, 10, 15, and 20. Ta-da. Mr. Vulcan, one of my favorites. I don't know how he's been hurt by the most recent item changes, because the recent item changes are good for him, right? Like Soul Reaver and Shamans, like, bro, hello? I think he's fine, but okay. I mean, he's a little behind some of the other mages. He's not a popular pick, so let's see what happens. Their intent is to make it better in early fights, allow him to perform more in line with the new items. Backfire, increase base damage from 80 to 240 to 90 to 250. Give it the Sun Wukong treatment. Increase the amount of damage that Infernal Cannon deals to marked targets from 10% to 15%. And they increase the magical power scaling on said Infernal Cannon from 35 to 40%. So that bonus does quite a bit more damage now, a decent amount more damage now. So you gotta pay attention to where that cannon is. Don't want to get hit by this baby. Anyway, in duel, his cannon is one of his best abilities for pressure, because you can put it, especially if you're against a melee, because you can put it up against the tower and position it to force him to take damage from that. And now that he's doing more bonus from it, even more pressure, makes him a dangerous duel god. Watch that. Erlang's Shen has fallen off quite a bit because, yes, the removal of Death Toll and things. It really hurt his playstyle. So they're changing his kit a little bit to make him a little better, so he can properly utilize the items, the new items that he's available to him. General basic attack, increase progressive scaling to match swing time from 0.65, 0.65, 0.65, 1.8x to 0.75, 0.75, 0.75, 1.1, 0.9x. So his swing time was slightly behind the progression scaling, which is weird because there are some weird animation glitches you get with him where it doesn't do the damage until long after you've swung, and it was weird. I do remember that being an issue. Spot weakness, increased cooldown reduction for basic attack from 0.75 to 1 second. So when this was on cooldown, you would get cooldown reduction on it for hitting your basic attacks. I think it was only on enemy gods. So now they've made that even stronger. So he can use this more often now, which is probably the biggest source of damage he has. So that's a big deal. Make him a lot stronger early, and he can, you know, better compete with the other warriors. Pin, increased physical power scaling from 45% to 55%. This is a pretty weak ability for an AoE. Usually on warriors, AoEs are intended to be used for clear and things like that. And he does not have a great one. So this gives him a little more power. I mean, the thing was, you use one of your transformations to go through the menu wave and then pin it, and then yeah, but it was still took a while. It still takes Erlang a little while to clear minions, so that helps him a lot. Good dual change because now he can run you down even faster. And which in duel, I don't think he's bad. He's fine in duel now. Right now, honestly, he really is. Once you get hasten katana done, it's basically game over. As long as you're not ridiculously far behind. He's still a pretty excellent pick. He's just not getting used because people forgot he existed because they took Death's Toll out of the game. I don't know. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this patch analysis. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like and subscribe if you did. Don't forget to check out the live stream at twitch.tv/CommanderClyde. And I'll see you guys later for some more Smite. Have a good one.